Now at 10, authorities identify the man who drowned in Grand Lake over the weekend. Plus, following the deadly Amtrak crash in Missouri last week, we'll have a look at unguarded railroad crossings in Kansas. And communities across the 4 states celebrate Independence Day with events.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We now know the identity of the man who drowned at the Dripping Springs area of Grand Lake over the weekend. This is KOAM News at 10. Officials with Emporia State University in Kansas say the man, Brexton Green, was a student there. The university says Green, originally from Cashion, Oklahoma, was a sophomore and a wide receiver on the football team. Authorities say Green was cliff jumping into the water but did not resurface. A Wyandotte, Oklahoma man is dead after a crash this morning while on his motorcycle in Newton County, Missouri. Authorities say 61-year-old Bruce Dodge was driving north on Missouri State Highway 43 north of Seneca when he crashed into the back of a pickup. Dodge was pronounced dead at the scene. The other driver was not hurt. The Caney, Kansas Police Department is warning residents to be on alert after a string of vehicle break-ins. Officials say if your vehicle is parked outside, you should make sure it's locked and remove any valuables from it. They're also asking people with security cameras to review the footage from last night and contact them if they see anything suspicious. It is warm out there for this 4th of July night. Doug Heddy.
Yeah, it was a very hot day for us today. Temperatures all the way up near 100 degrees, of course, 4th of July. So we got fireworks, which are popping out there right now. But look at our temps. Today, 99, not that far from the record high of 102, which was set back in 1954. All right, heat advisories in effect the entire area for us once again as we go into the morning hours tomorrow. So all day long on Tuesday. Clear skies, looks good. There's been a few isolated little thunderstorms out to our west, but in general, not too much going on. We're sitting mainly into the mid 80s, so it's warm, it's muggy outside. In fact, we still have a heat index even after 10 o'clock of about 90 degrees across the region. We'll drop back upper 70s, but right back to 100 once again for us tomorrow afternoon. We're going to look at the work week here in just a bit.
See you then. A Southwest Missouri legislator has resigned her seat after being convicted of fraudulently taking COVID-19 relief funds. On Friday, Republican State Representative Tricia Durgis of Nixa sent her resignation letter to the House Speaker, Rob Vescovo. Durgis was an assistant physician at several clinics. She was convicted last month on 22 counts, including wire fraud, illegal distribution of controlled substances, and making false statements to investigators. Federal prosecutors argued she claimed nearly $900,000 in federal funding for COVID-19 treatments that were not performed or had already been performed. The state of Oklahoma is planning to execute an inmate on death row nearly every month until 2025. The Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals set execution dates for 6 prisoners with plans to execute 25 in the next 29 months. The court's responding to a request by Oklahoma Attorney General John O'Connor. Capital punishment in Oklahoma had been on hold due to a moratorium prompted by botched lethal injections. Oklahoma currently has a backlog of 44 people on death row. Under the new push, the first scheduled execution is set for August 25th. Last week's deadly Amtrak crash in northern Missouri happened at a railroad crossing that was unguarded and uncontrolled. Those kinds of crossings are also in Kansas. Unlike controlled or signaled crossings, there's no advance warning that a train is coming. Reporter Sean Logan has more.
In the rural rustic landscape of Kansas, intercut is gravel roads and lines of train tracks.
There's a lot of uncontrolled intersections all across Kansas.
Uncontrolled means there might only be a sign to warn drivers there's a railroad crossing ahead.
When we see tracks, we should think train.
KHP Trooper Ben Gardner says these uncontrolled crossings are where they often see crashes.
People don't expect them. They travel through these roads, they get fatigued or relaxed or comfortable in their travels, not really elevating the concerns of the tracks that are getting ready to approach. And and then before they realize it, that the train right there in that same space.
Data collected by Kansas Highway Patrol shows in the 10 years between 2011 and 2020, there were more than 2,000 crashes at railroad crossings.
We're not the number one. I mean, California, Texas, Illinois, them are three consistent states up there that are very high on there, more tracks in their state.
The data shows that only a portion of these crashes at railroad crossings involved a collision with a train. Trooper Ben tells me one thing for drivers to keep in mind is while it only takes you a few seconds to bring your car to a stop, for a train it's oftentimes hundreds of feet before it can finally come to a halt.
The ratio I always think of, a vehicle versus a pop can would be the same comparison of a train versus a car. It's going to win.
For example, the average freight train traveling 55 miles an hour can take more than a mile to stop.
Collision occurs with a vehicle, you are at fault. It's not the train's fault.
Again, that was Sean Loging reporting. Of course, on this 4th of July, area communities are celebrating and did celebrate our nation's independence. The city of Carthage held its annual celebration of Independence Day at Municipal Park. Sponsored iced watermelon was up for grabs. Yum yum. The YMCA offered free community swims to the event goers. The fireworks show for that event, it started at 9:30 tonight. Another local Independence Day tradition, the Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Department annual 4th of July festival. That festival featured events like a car show, a bocce tournament, and a fishing derby at Lincoln Park. Officials yesterday restocked the pond at Lincoln Park with catfish. Kids and adults today were put in separate divisions to see who could catch the most. The many activities at Pittsburgh's Lincoln Park also included a Cutest baby contest. Participants were in boy and girl categories and 6 to 12 months or 12 to 24 months. The contest is a long-standing tradition for the Pittsburgh Independence Day celebration.
Well, as a child, my mom took me to all of them, mainly with my grandpa. And so it was just kind of a little tradition that I was so excited to continue on once I had her. So we're just excited to do it and to spend the 4th of July with family and friends and at the day at the park.
And of course, it turned out that every single baby at that event was cute. What are the odds? The unincorporated community of Chicopee, Kansas, just outside of Pittsburgh, celebrated two parts of its history. A schoolhouse that was established in 1869 and ran for 100 years, and the Chicopee Rural Water District, established in 1951. Today, the community honored both parts of history by dedicating a memorial in the old schoolyard.
It's just to remind us of our rich heritage. We're really fortunate in Southeast Kansas. We have a really rich heritage here. It's really colorful, rich heritage. And people can't be reminded of that too often.
The memorial is made of brick and cut stone and features a flagpole. Coming up, police in Illinois take a person of interest into custody after a shooting in a 4th of July parade. Plus, Google announces a policy change related to location data tracking. At least 6 people are dead, more than 24 are hospitalized after a gunman opened fire at a suburban Chicago 4th of July parade. Police recovered a high-powered rifle and identified a person of interest, and this evening they announced his capture. Sabrina Franza has the latest from Highland Park, Illinois.
Police in Highland Park, Illinois say a gunman started shooting into a 4th of July parade from a rooftop in the downtown area.
I remember hearing shootings and going like, that's, and then reloading and then again, and people screaming and running. It was just really traumatizing and scary.
Officials say shots started ringing out about 10 minutes after the parade started. At first, the crowd thought the noise was associated with the parade. Then they ran from the scene, leaving their belongings behind.
It sounds like spectators were targeted, and even those that were marching through. The parade was approximately 3/4 of the way through when the shooting occurred. So very random, very intentional, and a very sad day.
Monday evening, police captured Robert Cremo III, the 22-year-old person of interest they identified just hours earlier.
Robert Cremo III was spotted by a North Chicago unit at Buckley in 41, his vehicle, the vehicle that we were looking for. He attempted to initiate a traffic stop on that subject. That subject did flee. A brief pursuit went on. Ultimately, they were able to get the subject stopped.
Authorities took him to Highland Park Police Department.
On a day that we came together to celebrate community and freedom, we're instead mourning the tragic loss of life and struggling with the terror that was brought upon us.
Some 4th of July events in nearby communities have been canceled. From Highland Park, Illinois, Sabrina Franza, CBS News.
Multiple agencies are helping with that investigation, including the FBI. Highland Park is about 27 miles north of Chicago. Google is making a policy change in keeping user location history data. The company says it'll delete entries from a person's location history when users visit sensitive health locations, such as abortion clinics or domestic violence shelters. Google says the changes are meant to protect user privacy and, in abortion cases, protect users from legal problems by states banning abortions. A new study reveals the natural gas from stoves can harm your health. Researchers from Harvard analyzed more than 200 samples from 69 kitchens in the Boston area. They found nearly 300 chemical compounds in the unburned natural gas, 21 of which are labeled as hazardous air pollutants by the EPA. That includes benzene, which was detected in 95% of the samples and has also been linked to lymphoma. Analysts suggest moving from gas stoves to electric ones, or at least cook with the windows open to have a constant airflow. A little bit later, we're going to look into the science behind the dazzling fireworks lighting up the sky tonight.
Plus more heat sticking around as we go through the work week. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, I hope you've had a fantastic 4th of July. Stay cool, super hot for us today. High temps right around 100 degrees. Dry for us as well after we got some scattered thunderstorms yesterday, which was good. So we've had a ½ an inch of rain in July so far. It'd be nice to get a little bit more, but not much in the forecast. All right, heat advisories in effect all week for all of us. Oklahoma, Arkansas drops in the evening, reissues in the morning, while Kansas and Missouri just keep it up the entire time. But everybody under a heat advisory once again as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Look at our highs today, near 100, still warm. Most of us are sitting mid-80s right now. It's humid out there as well. We look at our dew points in the summertime. Anytime you approach 70 or above, it's pretty muggy, it's pretty soupy, and that's where we are going to sit as we go through the next couple days. So we even still have a heat index right now, upper 80s to 90 degrees. It still feels like 93 in Neosho, Anderson at 94 degrees. Of course, a lot of fireworks going on over the past couple hours. 84 south winds, 5 to 10 humidity. At 67%. If we go outside, nothing's going on. We have clear skies across the region. We've had a few pockets of isolated thunderstorms out to our west. We will stay dry throughout the overnight hours tonight. In general, big dome of high pressure is in charge, keeping us pretty much hot, humid, and fairly dry. All right, let's go through time tonight. We'll stop in the morning, upper 70s to about 80 degrees by the time we wake up, or if you are getting up early. Could be an isolated shower, maybe a random thunder shower in our far northwestern counties tomorrow morning. Everybody else will stay dry. Heating up near 100 during the afternoon. I think most of us will probably hit it. 77 to start, 94 by noon. Triple digit heat. Once again, southerly winds at about 10 to 20, gusts upwards of 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow night, we'll drop back again near 80 for an overnight low. And then we're going to do it again on Wednesday. We heat right back up. High temps right around 100, 101 as we head into the afternoon. Never hit 100 at all last year. And we've already done it once, and we've hit 99 a few times. All right, heat indices tomorrow, 105 to 110. Again, this is what we're going to see on Wednesday. Heat index about 105 to 110. Remember, the heat index is the temperature your body thinks it actually is. If we go down the road Thursday, much of the same. Highs right around 100, highs right around 100 on Friday, but we'll at least get some chances for a few scattered thunderstorms in here late this week and then heading into the weekend. All right, 100, 101, 102, 103, massive cool front rolls in by the weekend. So huge cool down. Psychologically, yes, but only into the upper 90s and right back to 100 on Monday. Not much in the way of rain chances.
And that could change. Maybe it won't drop into the double digits. We'll see.
Let's hope it does.
Yes. Hey, the new antenna is now at the top of our tower. For now, we're broadcasting from a temporary antenna, a little bit lower on the tower. We're trying to transition to that new, more powerful transmitter. Our signal kind of glitchy for some of you. Sometimes you are watching us right now, however, I would point out. And when this project is finished, we're going to be broadcasting with more power than ever. Check out the progress anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Tonight, an estimated 16,000 fireworks shows are being held across the country. Maybe you hear them outside right now. But how do pyrotechnicians create all those beautiful shapes and colors in the sky? Reporter Michael George shows us the science behind the spectacle.
It's a dazzling display in the sky, a symphony of sights and sounds. But the magic behind fireworks is actually just science.
We're seeing chemistry in action.
Paul Smith is president of the Pyrotechnics Guild International.
The basic composition of a firework material, it has to have an oxidizer and a fuel.
Do different colors require different chemicals?
Exactly. And there's a couple of key elements that we use, or several key elements that we use there. Strontium is the predominant one used for red. Barium is often the key component in green color situations. Copper is for blue.
Each fireworks shell has to be precisely packed and timed to the second to synchronize with the music. And even the grandest of fireworks displays, the Macy's Spectacular, uses many of the same techniques as local public displays. This production involves 48,000 shells, creating 17 unique patterns in the sky.
And this particular one will get thrown out in the shape of a happy face.
Macy's fireworks designer Gary Souza showed us how the small frame in his hand can create massive shapes in the sky.
Making shapes with fireworks is become more and more of an art, in the sense that you have to strategically place the shells with the stars within the shell.
An awe-inspiring American tradition powered by science. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead, how a recent Webb City High School graduate found a new home in the boxing ring. Carterville's Bradley Coffey graduated from Webb City High School earlier this year. He didn't play any sports for the Cardinals, but now he's found a new team and a home inside the boxing ring. Sports director Jacob Leonard has that story.
Bradley Coffey first got into boxing at 14 years old.
Went to my friend's house and they just had gloves in the backyard and we started boxing each other. Well, not really boxing, we were fighting. So I would watch videos, YouTube videos, and I would just try to implement that into what I was doing.
Coffey went to Webb City High School, but never suited up in any sport for the Cardinals.
That was hard, and I had friends that wanted me to go do wrestling and something like that, and it just didn't intrigue me.
So he wasn't really part of a team until...
I was actually at the Webb City Senior Project, their presentation, and I look over, I see this kid's got boxing on his board, so I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool, you don't see it often. And I go over and just hit it up with Bradley, and then, I let him know, I was like, hey man, you don't have to go to college to box. He's been in the gym with us ever since, and you could tell right there he was a kid that we just wanted in the gym, just a good kid to have. Got to talk to his parents and meet everybody, so he hadn't missed a day since.
Coffey started training with Mossberg Boxing in Southwest Missouri, and Coach Ryan Mossberg.
We came in here as a shy kid, and then how we saw him move around and stuff with all my guys, we knew he had potential.
Here I felt comfortable. This was like a safe place for me. They didn't take away my style, they just embedded more stuff into it.
And he finally found his team.
Felt like these guys were like my family, and the only time I've ever felt that was in ROTC or, at home.
Coffey fought and won his amateur debut just 2 weeks ago at Buffalo Run Casino.
It was a good feeling getting my hand raised. It was spooky for the first bit, but I guess as soon as the bell rung, I just had tunnel vision.
He cut off the angles, he listened well, he put all of his combinations together. Usually fighters in their first fight, it goes out the window once they're in there, but not Brad. He stuck to the game plan.
Watching him win was almost better than me doing anything that I could have done that night. I was so excited for him.
And winning was a good feeling, but for Coffey, it meant just as much to have his new team behind him.
That feels very warming, I guess, knowing that I have someone to back me, knowing I have a future ahead of me. rather than just backyard boxing.
To have Bradley come in here and work as hard as he does every day is super cool to see. The perfect story of, how boxing can really build someone's confidence and put them on the map.
In Southwest Missouri, Jacob Leonard, KOAM Sports.
Coffey hopes to return to the ring for his second amateur fight in August. We'll be right back. Take time now to honor a local veteran. Herbert Coos served in the U.S. Army from 1952 to 1954. The Lockwood, Missouri native was stationed in Korea, and we salute Sergeant Herbert Coos, a four-state hero. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, all you have to do is download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge. You'll find it in the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. You just search for KOAM News app. This dog here, named Savannah, became the first dog on record, at least, to walk all around the world. The four-legged adventurer was adopted by Tom Tursich from New Jersey. Tursich was inspired to walk around the globe after a longtime friend passed away. Set off in 2015 and adopted Savannah a few months later. Together, that pair walked across 6 continents and 38 countries. They spent most nights camping and walked between 18 and 24 hours each day. That trip took 7 years with a few delays from illness and the pandemic. Tursich is the 10th person on record to walk around the world. Savannah still walks at least 4 miles a day, but she's adjusting to staying in one place. Savannah, stay, sit. Good girl, Savannah.
It's a lot of walking.
It would be nice to have a companion if you're going to walk around the globe. You don't want one that's stopping at every fire hydrant.
Right.
That would slow you down.
It'd also be nice if it wasn't triple-digit heat, and we're going to be seeing that over the next few days, so drink plenty of water.
Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.